My boyfriend's proposal to his secretary went viral. Everyone online was calling it romantic and moving. The secretary had even posted a heartfelt message. "I've finally waited for you. I'm glad I didn't give up, Mr. Luis. I look forward to spending the rest of my life with you." The comments section was buzzing. "So sweet. Female secretary and CEO my OTP. They're the sweetest couple." I didn't cry. I didn't cause a scene. I simply closed the page. Quietly. Then I got up to go find Luis, needing to hear the truth from him. But before I could confront him, I overheard a conversation he was having with a friend. "I don't have a choice," Luis said. "If I don't marry her, her family will force her to marry someone she doesn't love." His friend sounded shocked. "But what about Selena? She's your real girlfriend. Aren't you afraid she'll be upset?" Luis let out a breath. "Upset? What's the point? Selena's been with me for 7 years, she can't leave me." That night, I got married too. Our wedding convoys passed each other on the road. 2 brides, exchanging bouquets. When Luis saw me sitting in the wedding car, opposite his, he completely broke down. "Mom, I've agreed to the arranged marriage." In the dim light of the living room, my voice sounded distant, soft and hollow. Mom looked surprised when she heard me. "But you didn't want it before. Why the sudden change, Selena? Marriage isn't a small matter. Whether it's arranged or not, I just want you to be happy. Are you sure? Don't be impulsive." Her concern made a lump rise in my throat. "I've thought it through. Mom, you can start preparing for the wedding." She could sense something was wrong but didn't push further. "You and Luis have been together so long, but he still hasn't introduced himself to us. He doesn't want to announce your relationship. Your father and I always knew it wouldn't last." Her words pierced like needles, painful, but true. "We already picked someone for you? Someone with a good background and character. You deserve the best, Selena." I nodded slowly. "Thank you, Mom. I trust your and Dad's judgment. Should we arrange a meeting soon?" "No need," I said. "Just start preparing for the wedding." I hung up. That's when I realized Luis was standing behind me, holding a small cake. He looked confused. "What wedding? Who's getting married?" "Mine," I thought. But I said nothing. Just shook my head. "Nothing. It's for a friend." Relief washed over his face. He smiled and offered me the cake. "I got it from your favorite place. Want to eat it now?" In the past, Luis always brought me something sweet after work. Even if I didn't always like what he chose, it felt warm like love. But now, the cake felt ironic. Just earlier, I saw that Diana had made her private posts public. I scrolled through a few and couldn't continue. This cake was Diana's favorite. All the snacks and treats Luis brought me, all of them were hers. I suddenly realized he only started bringing me food after Diana joined the company. "So Luis, when you were feeding me, who did you see in front of you, me or Diana?" I swallowed the bitterness and said softly, "I don't like sweets anymore. They're too rich, don't buy them again." He looked surprised. "Really? I've never seen you refuse before. 7 years together." If he cared, how did he never learn my preferences? But I didn't argue. I just said, "My taste has changed." For days, Luis seemed incredibly busy, so busy, he forgot my birthday. I didn't get mad. I didn't even care anymore. Then one day he seemed to remember, maybe out of guilt. To make up for it, he got tickets to my favorite musical, the one I couldn't even find tickets for. I agreed to go. But the night of the show, he didn't show up. Instead, I saw Diana's post, "Just watching a concert to kill time." It's so nice to have someone who's always there to indulge your whims. No face in the photo, just a hand scarred. That unmistakable scar. The one Luis got when he saved me years ago. While I stood outside the theater in the rain, worried sick, he was inside, VIP seats, with her. Raindrops soaked me. My body was chilled but my heart was colder. A message from my mom lit up my phone. The wedding was set for 2 weeks later. She asked if it was too rushed. "No need," I replied. "Let's go ahead." Traffic was paralyzed by the storm. I stood there for hours, unable to find a cab. Then Luis called. "Why aren't you home?" Calmly I replied, "I'm at the People's Theater." There was a pause. "I'm sorry. Something came up." "Wait there, I'll come get you." But I knew he wouldn't. Sure enough, the next moment, Diana posted again. To keep me from catching a cold, my CEO hubby made ginger tea himself. The photo showed Luis in a kitchen, making tea. I stared at it, then closed the app. The rain left me with a fever. I used that as an excuse to move into the guest room. For once, Luis stayed home to care for me, but it felt wrong. Foreign. It's just a cold. I'm an adult. I can take care of myself. Go focus on work. He looked confused. Didn't you always want me by your side when you were sick? Why are you acting so differently? I lowered my head, forced a smile. I was immature back then. I'm not like that anymore. Selena, are you okay? I'm fine. You can go now. He stared at me, clearly unsettled. But he left. Once gone, I finally exhaled. Later I got a message from Mom, photos of wedding dresses to choose from. I zoomed in on the images. Studying them, I didn't notice Luis enter the room until he grabbed my phone. Why are you looking at wedding dresses? My heart jumped. Did he find out? But his next words were ridiculous. Selena, are you trying to pressure me into marrying you? I already told you I'll marry you. Don't play tricks like this, it's undignified. I opened my mouth. You misunderstood, I'm not, but he cut me off with a wave of his hand. I have things to do. Here's some advice. Stop pulling stunts like this. You're draining my feelings for you. He slammed the door on his way out. Silence swallowed the room. I laughed bitterly. Luis, what feelings are even left to drain? Before, his misunderstandings would have kept me awake for nights. Now, I calmly returned to the wedding details. And then, I checked his social media. Luis, who rarely posted, had just updated his feed. Someone as wonderful as you deserves to be kept close, so I can feel at ease. A photo of Diana and their wedding invitation. Then a mutual friend commented, Bro, the bride got swapped out just like that. The post disappeared, then reappeared on Diana's profile. Luis called me in the past. I would have exploded, called, argued, cried. But this time, I let it ring. I didn't feel sad. Just numb. Their wedding date was the same as mine. What a coincidence. When Luis came home that night, I was in bed, pretending to sleep. He crept in, quietly. Selena, are you asleep? Why didn't you answer my calls? Facing away from him, I mumbled, I fell asleep. Didn't hear it. He sighed and reached out to check my forehead. Still have a fever. The perfume on him, sweet, strong, made me gag. I turned away instinctively. His hand paused midair. He looked confused. Selena, did you see something? I pulled the blanket over my head. No, just tired. Want to sleep. I slept deeply. The next morning, I felt lighter. I began packing my things, slowly erasing every trace of myself from this house. Then, I found our album, photos, postcards, tickets, letters. Once, it was a box of memories. But since Diana appeared, not a single new photo had been added. When Luis came home, I was throwing it into the fireplace. He rushed in, grabbing it out of the flames with his bare hands. Are you insane? Do you know how important this album is? Why would you burn it? His panic felt real. But so was the betrayal. I didn't want to fight. The album was moldy, full of bugs. I backed everything up. I'll make a new one later. He calmed down. While I applied ointment to his burns, he stared at me. Selena, you've been off lately. Is it work? I booked you a vacation. Go relax. I paused. Just me. You're not coming. Too busy. I'll join next time. But Luis, there won't be a next time. I don't want to go. Don't worry, I've already booked it. I said nothing. Last night, I'd overheard him on the phone. I'm not planning to tell her. As long as I can hide it, I will. I'll send her away during the wedding. And after? The voice asked. A long silence. Then Luis replied, We'll take it one step at a time. My heart shattered. If you don't love me, Luis, why lie? Why deceive me? I'll grant your wish. I'll disappear. When's the flight? Day after tomorrow. I smiled. All right, I'll go. He visibly relaxed and patted my head. I flinched away. Before you go, let's have dinner together. I agreed. Tomorrow was our 7-year anniversary. Let's end it where it began. I confronted Luis about it later, but he brushed it off, saying it was just a reward for Diana's hard work. He told me I was overthinking it. That same day, I went back to Luce's office to pick up a bag I'd left behind, only to find the meal I had carefully prepared for him tossed straight into the trash. And for the first time, Diana dropped the act in front of me. With a mocking smile, she said, Selena, I don't eat cilantro. Next time you bring food, remember not to add it. In that moment, it was like I'd been struck by lightning. Luis had been giving the meals I made for him To her, I don't even remember how I left the office that day. What followed was the worst fight Luis and I had ever had in all our years together. We didn't speak for an entire month, and in the end, I forgave him because of our history. Because of the Luis I used to know. The Luis I remembered was so good, so kind, that I just couldn't believe he'd betray our love. Luis and I grew up together. Childhood sweethearts. I always thought we'd be together forever. I never imagined a day when we'd part ways. Back in middle school, when my parents moved to another city for work, they left me behind so I could focus on my studies. I went to live with my aunt. She had her own kids and a demanding job, so she was rarely home. Most of the time, it was just me and my cousins, and to them, I was an outsider, an intruder in their home. They made their dislike for me very clear and treated me horribly. At school, one of my cousins even rallied other kids to bully me. They pushed me into an artificial lake. I didn't cry for help. I knew no one would come. I gave up and let the water close over me. Then, suddenly, I heard a splash. Luis had jumped in to save me. It was the middle of a freezing winter day, but he still seemed to shine with warmth. "Why didn't you call for help when they bullied you?" he scolded me. "From now on, just call me Luis and I'll take care of you. Nobody will dare touch you again." And he kept that promise. After that, no one at school dared mess with me. Another time, my cousin tricked me into eating a cake laced with nuts knowing I was allergic. It nearly killed me. Luis was the one who rushed to my side like a guardian angel. When I was trapped in a fire and about to lose my life, it was Luis who ran straight through the thick smoke, carrying me on his back, step by step, to safety. He ended up bearing the scars from that fire on his body, scars that would stay with him forever. At the time, I cried bitterly, guilt eating away at me. But Luis gently wiped away my tears, smiling as if it were nothing. "It's just a scar," he said casually. "It doesn't make me any less handsome." His indifference only made my tears fall harder. "Does it hurt?" I asked. Seeing me cry, he panicked and fumbled for words. "It doesn't hurt, not even a little. Please don't cry, okay? I'm begging you. When you cry, everything hurts." Back then, he didn't hesitate to run into a burning building to save me. But now, he runs to save someone else, and it's no longer me. Later, the golden boy Luis was hit with a family tragedy. Overnight, everything fell apart. He was left with an enormous debt, going from a life of privilege to one of hardship. I stood on tiptoe, kissed away his tears, and whispered, "You still have me. I'll always be here for you." Without hesitation, I chose the same university as him. I moved to his city. We got married right after graduation. Back then, Luis loved me deeply, treated me with such care. We were poor, but we were happy. We lived in a tiny, windowless apartment, scraping by, saving every penny to pay off his debts. Our only luxury was taking long walks hand in hand because that cost nothing. And yet, I felt happy. Just being with him, even doing nothing, filled me with peace. One time, when he was drunk, he clasped my hand, grinning, and dug into his pocket. He pulled out a delicate little necklace and carefully put it around my neck. "Keep this for now," he said. "When we have more money, I'll get you something better." Later, we did have more money. And I did get better necklaces. But that simple, delicate one from before, that one remained my favorite. Everyone said Luis was amazing to me. People said that once men became successful, they often abandoned the women who supported them through the hard times. But Luis and I had been together for years, and our bond still seemed unbreakable. If it hadn't been for Diana, I might have believed that too. Maybe I was just too caught up in the beauty of our past, too unwilling to accept that he had fallen out of love. So I gave him chance after chance to hurt me, but now, I've finally woken up. I've let go completely. The wedding started quickly. Arm in arm with my father, I walked down the aisle, step by step, until I reached Ryan. In front of all the guests, my father solemnly placed my hand in his. Ryan pulled out the ring, ready to slide it onto my finger. And then chaos, a commotion erupted outside. The tightly shut doors burst open. Luis appeared, covered in blood. Dragging an injured leg, he struggled forward, step by step, leaving a trail of bright red in his wake. The entire room went still, shocked. Ignoring the security guards, Luis looked right at me. His eyes were full of desperation. "Selena," he pleaded. "Don't marry him. I'm begging you. Come with me." This was my wedding with Ryan. The guests were all prominent figures. I had no intention of becoming the gossip of the town. I didn't want to ruin the wedding my parents had looked forward to for so long. I asked Ryan to call security and have Luis removed. That brief interruption didn't affect the rest of the wedding. Everything went smoothly. After the ceremony, once we'd seen off the guests, I turned to Ryan. Can you give me a moment to deal with what happened earlier? I want to settle things with him. Ryan nodded without hesitation. Go ahead, but please be careful. If you need help, just call me. I'll be right here. For some reason, his calm steadiness gave me an immense sense of security. Luis had been placed in a separate room, guarded by security. When I arrived, one of them walked up to me. Can you talk to him? He was in a car accident and lost a lot of blood. We've been urging him to go to the hospital, but he refuses to leave. If this continues, he might lose too much blood. It's serious. I nodded, signaling I understood. Pushing open the door, I saw Luis sitting inside. He was pale, drenched in sweat, clearly in pain. The moment he saw me, his eyes lit up, and he forced a smile. Selena, you finally came. Please, come home with me. Looking at him like this, I felt a twinge of emotion. After all, I did love him once. You're injured. Go to the hospital first. We can talk later, I said. But he stubbornly shook his head. No, not unless you promise to come home with me. I sighed. Luis, we've already broken up. I'm married now. Please, wake up. No, I don't accept it. Who said we broke up? I never agreed to it. I sighed again. The moment you decided to marry Diana, we were over. Wasn't that clear? Luis, I sent you a breakup message. You didn't respond. I took that as your silent agreement. Looking desperate, he tried to explain. I didn't see your message. Selena, if this is about Diana, I can explain. I didn't mean to hide it from you. I don't have feelings for her. I only agreed to marry her because I felt sorry for her. Her rural parents were forcing her to marry someone else. I just wanted to help her, so I agreed to a fake marriage. Selena, believe me, there's nothing between us. She's someone we rescued from traffickers together. We supported her financially. She calls me her brother. That's all it ever was. From beginning to end. The only one I've ever loved is you. I couldn't help but laugh. If that's true, why didn't you tell me? Why did you lie to me? Luis, you say you love me, but have you ever respected me? He panicked. It's not like that. I admit it was wrong to hide it, but I did it for you. I didn't want you to overthink or get hurt. So I kept it from you. I looked at him quietly. At this point, I couldn't tell what was true and what was a lie, but it didn't matter, because I no longer cared. I took a deep breath. It doesn't matter, Luis, we're over. You don't need to explain anything to me. He suddenly stood up, aggravating his injured leg. He winced in pain, sweat pouring down his forehead, but he kept pleading. Selena, I know I hurt you. I know I messed up. But when I realized the bride was terrified. It felt like the end of the world. Maybe this accident is divine punishment, a wake-up call. But I've learned my lesson. I love you, please let's start over. Chapter 10. In all my memories, Luis had never looked this desperate. Never humbled himself like this. I looked at him calmly and said, Luis, stop struggling. Admitting that you've fallen out of love isn't shameful. I believe you loved me once, but it's also true that you don't love me anymore. He quickly cut me off. That's not true. I still love you, Selena. Please believe me. I gave him a faint smile. You say you love me, yet you can't even remember my preferences. The food you bought for me was always what Diana liked. You gave me the same gifts you gave her. You forgot my birthday, our anniversary. And in my most dangerous moment you ran to someone else without hesitation. Luis, if that's love, then your love is cheap. His face went pale. I know I did wrong. While I was waiting outside just now, I finally understood what it feels like to wait. I've made you wait so many times before. I'm sorry. I know I've failed you, but please give me one more chance. I'll change. I'll become the partner you deserve. His voice choked with emotion. I'll learn to cook for you. I'll do the housework. I'll pick you up from work every day. I'll never eat someone else's food. Camille, eat what you like. If you want to travel, I'll go anywhere with you. I'll never forget your birthday or miss another anniversary again. I'll never leave you behind for anyone else. I stayed silent. Unmoved, he grew more desperate. I know I handled things with Diana poorly, but I'll fix it. I won't see her again. I'll make her leave the company. I'll delete all her contact information. I let out a cold chuckle. So you do know what you did wrong. Yet you still treated me like this. The truth is, you never really cared about me. You took my love for granted. Thought I'd never leave no matter how badly you treated me. That's why you acted so recklessly. No, that's not true. I care about you. I love you, Selena. Sorry I don't feel it. All I felt was your disregard and disrespect. The way you catered to Diana's every need, always there for her, taking care of her. That's what love looks like. He looked crushed. I admit I lost my way. I thought pity was love, but it wasn't. When I saw you leaving me, I realized, it's always been you. Just the thought of losing you tears me apart. I was foolish not to see it sooner. Even during our fights, I used Diana to provoke you. I had no real feelings for her, only her worship of me, and my pity for her clouded my judgment. Selena, please, let's start over. I shook my head. Calm, firm. No, I don't love you anymore. Luis, you don't deserve my love. I deserve something pure. A love that's beautiful and true. Someone who's truly devoted to me. With that, I turned and walked away. Luis stumbled after me, dragging his injured leg, blood staining the floor. He reached out, trying to grab me. I turned back. My voice was cold and unshakable. Stop trying to gain sympathy. It won't work. He trembled, eyes filled with despair. No, Selena. Without another word, I walked straight to Ryan. He smiled and reached out his hand. I let out a deep breath, placed my hand in his hand. We smiled at each other. Together, we walked away. Without looking back, later, I heard Diana had died from injuries sustained in the car accident that day. Even though she was rushed to the hospital, she couldn't be saved. Luis, refusing everyone's advice, dragged his own injured body in search of me, but because he delayed treatment, his condition worsened and eventually, his leg had to be amputated. Years later, when Ryan and I had a 2-year-old child, I still heard news about Luis from time to time. People said he would often mutter to himself, "Where is my Selena? Who lost my Selena?" If 18-year-old Luis met 28-year-old Luis, he'd never forgive him. He opened the door quietly and walked over to my bedside. "Selena, are you asleep? Why didn't you answer my calls?" Facing away from him, I mumbled, "I fell asleep accidentally and didn't hear it." He let out a sigh of relief, leaned down, and reached out to check my forehead for a fever. "Is the fever gone?" As he moved closer, the cloying scent of women's perfume clung to him, making me nauseous. I nearly gagged. Instinctively, I shifted away from his touch. His hand froze midair, his expression filled with confusion. Tentatively, he asked, "Selena, did you see something?" Burying myself under the blanket, I muffled my voice. "No, I'm just tired from the cold. I want to sleep." I slept soundly through the night and finally felt lighter the next morning. Gathering my strength, I began packing my things, erasing every trace of myself from this house bit by bit. That's when I noticed all the little matching items I had bought for us as a couple. In the beginning, Luis had used them with me, but at some point, he had tossed them aside to collect dust in a corner. I packed up all the unused items and threw them into the trash. Then I found an album. It was filled with photos from our travels, postcards we collected together, tickets from our long-distance visits, and letters he wrote to me. The album was once a treasure chest of memories from our years together. But ever since Diana appeared, not a single new photo had been added. When Luis came home, I was throwing the album into the fireplace. He dashed over as if possessed, pulling the charred album out of the flames with his bare hands. Ignoring the burns on his hand, he looked at me with rage. "Are you insane? Do you know how important this album is to us? Why would you burn it?" Luis rarely raised his voice at me, but this was the first time he shouted so angrily. The care in his eyes didn't seem fake. But the fact that he was hiding his plans to marry someone else was just as real. I didn't want to argue with him, so I casually lied. The album was moldy and infested with bugs. "I've already backed up everything in it. I'll make a new one later." Hearing this, he calmed down. While applying burn ointment to his hand, Luis stared at me and suddenly spoke. "Selena, you seem off lately. Is work stressing you out? I've booked a personalized vacation for you. Go relax and unwind." My hand paused mid-motion as I applied the ointment. I looked up at him. "Just me. You're not coming with me?" Luis sighed, his tone full of regret. "I'm too busy with work. I can't get away. I'll join you next time." "Okay." But Louise, there won't be a next time for us. I lowered my head and continued what I was doing. Work might not let me take time off. Don't worry about it, I'll take care of it for you, he replied. I don't want to go, I insisted. His tone left no room for refusal. Be good. I've already booked everything, and it's I didn't say anything. But my heart grew colder with every word. I remembered last night when I was half awake and overheard Louise talking on the phone with someone. I'm not planning to tell her. As long as I can keep it under wraps, I will. Just to be safe, during the wedding, I'll send her on a trip. Let her enjoy herself for a bit. The person on the other end sighed. And then what? Are you going to make her the other woman? Louise fell silent for a long time, so long it felt like an eternity. I heard the deep drag of a cigarette, followed by a slow exhale. Finally, after what felt like a century, he spoke. What happens after that? We'll just take it one step at a time. The pain was unbearable, like a knife twisting in my heart. I lay in bed, tears blurring my vision, feeling like the past 7 years of my life had been nothing but a cruel joke. Louise, it seems I never really knew you. If you don't love me anymore, why not just say it? Why choose to deceive me? Are you afraid I'll cling to you? Is that why you're using this elaborate plan to send me away during your wedding? You don't need to go to such lengths. Louise, I will fulfill your wish and disappear completely from your world. I asked him, when is the flight? The day after tomorrow. I smiled. All right, I'll go. Hearing this, Louise visibly relaxed and instinctively reached out to pat my head. I subtly moved away. He paused for a moment, then smiled. Before you go, let's have dinner together. I thought about it for a moment and finally nodded. Tomorrow happens to be our 7-year anniversary. Let's end it properly, I thought. We'll say our goodbyes, and this relationship will begin and end on the same day. The next day, I arrived early at the restaurant where Luis and I had agreed to meet. He showed up on time, but he wasn't alone. Diana was with him. Selena, she said sweetly. Luis and I were nearby for some errands, so we decided to come together. I hope we're not interrupting. I shook my head, but my heart sank with disappointment. It seemed even this last farewell meal couldn't be complete. Luis ordered a table full of light dishes. Diana, noticing the dishes on the table, chuckled. Luis, these dishes are too bland. I don't think they suit Selena's taste, do they? Luis, completely replied, you're on your period. You shouldn't eat spicy food. As he spoke, he thoughtfully called over the waiter and asked them to take away the cold drink in front of Diana, replacing it with a cup of brown sugar ginger tea. Diana pouted, complaining that Luis was too controlling. Luis playfully tapped her on the forehead. If I don't take care of you, you'll be crying later when your stomach starts hurting. Diana stuck out her tongue and teased, you're exaggerating. You're just too worried about me. The two of them flirted openly in front of me, completely ignoring my presence. I watched with a calm gaze, my heart unmoved, not even a ripple of emotion left. As we ate, someone suddenly shouted, fire! Chaos erupted in the restaurant as people scattered, rushing toward the exits. I stood up only to see a figure flash past me. The next moment, I saw Luis tightly holding Diana in his arms, shielding her as he hurried out without looking back. For a moment, it felt like I was transported back in time through the tunnel of memory to when we were 18. Back then, in a similar situation, the person he had risked everything to protect was me. Once we reached a safe place, Luis finally came to his senses. He turned to look at me standing not far away, his face full of shock. I was in such a hurry just now. I didn't mean to. I cut him off with a smile. It's fine, I understand. The day Luis had booked for my trip arrived quickly. I packed my suitcase early and made sure there was no trace of me left in the room. With my luggage in hand, I left without looking back. Of course, I didn't go on the trip. Instead, I returned to my parents' home to prepare for my wedding. After all, my big day was just around the corner. Luis, meanwhile, was too busy trying on wedding attire with Diana to even notice my absence. The wedding day arrived in the blink of an eye. For the first time, I met my arranged fiancé. I had to admit, my parents had excellent taste. He looked even better in person than in the photos. Handsome, tall, and perfectly put together, he was flawless. The procession was grand. I got into the wedding car, and we set off in a magnificent convoy. At one point, our car passed another coming from the opposite direction. Both cars stopped as if on cue, allowing the brides to exchange bouquets. The car window slowly rolled down, Inside the other car, Luis and I locked eyes. A storm of disbelief and shock surged in his gaze. His voice trembled as he spoke, unable to hide his astonishment. "Selena, how could it be you?" With his arm draped over my shoulders, he turned to her and said, "Diana, you don't need to bring me food anymore. Just focus on your job. Selena is all I need for my meals." Diana's eyes reddened instantly. She looked like a scolded child, her whole body trembling, tears brimming and ready to spill. Bowing deeply in front of me, her voice shook with fear, as she apologized. "I'm so sorry, Selena. I only wanted to show my gratitude to Luis. If I caused any misunderstanding, I apologize. Please don't be angry with Luis because of me. You can hit me or scold me. Just don't let me ruin your relationship with him." Her overthought humility made my brow furrow. Instinctively I felt deeply uncomfortable. I voiced my concerns to Luis, but once again, he brushed them off. "I've already told her not to bring me food anymore. Cheer up, Selena." And just like that, with one line, he silenced all the things I hadn't even said yet. After that, things went back to normal. Diana stopped doing anything blatantly inappropriate, and I slowly let my guard down. I even convinced myself maybe I had been overthinking. I felt guilty for misjudging her and tried to make amends. I even reminded Luis occasionally to look after Diana at work, thinking I was doing the right thing. That is, until I got sick and couldn't bring Luis's meals for a while. The next time I brought him lunch, Diana greeted me with her usual bright enthusiasm. But the moment I saw the necklace around her neck, my heart dropped. It was identical to one I owned, a gift from Luis for our anniversary. I remembered vividly how Diana had admired it back then, saying, "This necklace is so beautiful. Luis has such great taste. You're so lucky, Selena. Unlike me, I probably won't ever have the chance to wear something so gorgeous in my lifetime." Even then, her words had left a strange taste in my mouth. Now, seeing me staring at the necklace, Diana met my eyes with a smile, completely unashamed. "That necklace," I began. She cut me off without missing a beat, her tone casual. "Luis gave it to me. I confronted Luis about it later, but he brushed it off, saying it was a reward for Diana's hard work. Again, he told me I was overthinking things." That same day, I returned to his office to retrieve a bag I'd left behind on Lee to find the meal I'd carefully prepared for him thrown into the trash, and for the first time, Diana dropped her act. In front of me, with a mocking smile, she said, "Selena, I don't eat cilantro. Next time you bring food, remember not to add it." In that moment, it was like lightning struck me. Luis had been giving the meals I made for him to Diana. I don't even remember how. I left the office that day. What followed was the biggest fight Luis and I had ever had in all our years together. We didn't speak for an entire month, but in the end, I forgave him because of our shared history. Because of the Luis I used to know, the one who was so good, so kind. I couldn't bring myself to believe he'd betray our love. Luis and I had grown up together, childhood sweethearts. I always thought we'd be together forever. I never imagined a day when we'd part. When I was in middle school, my parents moved to another city for work and left me behind to focus on my education. I went to live with my aunt. She had her own children and a demanding job, so she was rarely home. Most of the time, it was just me and my cousins. To them, I was an outsider, an intruder. They made their dislike for me clear and treated me coldly. At school, my cousin once even rallied others to bully me, pushing me into an artificial lake. I didn't cry for help. I knew no one would come, so I just gave up, letting the water close in around me. Then suddenly, I heard a splash. Luis had jumped into the lake to save me. It was a freezing winter day, yet somehow he seemed to shine with warmth. "Why didn't you call for help when they bullied you?" He scolded me gently. "From now on, just call me Louise. I'll take care of you. Nobody will dare touch you again." And he kept that promise. After that day, no one at school dared bother me again. When my cousin tricked me into eating a cake laced with nuts, triggering a severe allergic reaction that nearly killed me, it was Luis who came to my rescue like a guardian angel. When I was trapped in a fire, about to lose my life, Luis charged through the smoke, carried me on his back, and saved me. Step by step, the scars from that fire still remain on his body, permanent reminders of what he risked for me. I remember crying bitterly back then, overwhelmed with guilt, but Luis had only smiled gently, brushing away my tears. "It's just a scar," he said lightly. "It doesn't make me any less handsome." His indifference to his own pain only made my tears fall harder. Does it hurt? I asked. Seeing me cry, he panicked, fumbling for words. It doesn't hurt, not even a little. Please don't cry, okay? I'm begging you. When you cry, everything hurts. Back then, he didn't hesitate to rush into a burning building for me, but now, he runs to save someone else and, it's no longer me. Later, Luis the golden boy was struck by a sudden family tragedy. His once prosperous family collapsed overnight, leaving him drowning in debt. He plummeted from privilege into despair. I stood on tiptoe to kiss away his tears and whispered, "You still have me. I'll always be here." I didn't hesitate, followed him to his university, moved to his city. We got married right after graduation. Back then, he loved me deeply, treated me with so much care. We were poor but happy. We lived in a cramped, windowless apartment, scraping by and saving every penny to pay off his debts. Our only leisure was long walks hand in hand, because they cost nothing. And still, I felt content. Even just sitting together, doing nothing, made me feel full. Once, when he was drunk, he clasped my hand, grinned, and pulled a delicate necklace from his pocket, putting it around my neck. "Keep this for now," he said. "When we have more money, I'll get you something better." And later, we did have more money. I did get better necklaces, but my favorite was still that simple, delicate one. Everyone said Luis treated me so well, that most men, once they succeed, forget the ones who stood by them in the hardest times, but not Luis. Or so I thought. If it weren't for Diana, I might have believed that forever. Maybe it was because I was so deeply entangled in the beauty of our past, unwilling to face the reality that he'd fallen out of love, that I let him keep hurting me. But now, I've finally woken up. I've let go. Completely. The wedding began quickly, arm in arm with my father. I walked down the aisle, step by step, until I reached Ryan. In front of all the guests, my father solemnly placed my hand into Ryan's. Ryan took out the ring, ready to slide it onto my finger. Just then, chaos erupted. Outside, the tightly shut doors flew open. Luis appeared, covered in blood. Dragging an injured leg, he limped step by step toward the stage, leaving a trail of red behind him. The room fell into stunned silence. Ignoring the security guards trying to stop him, Luis looked up at me with desperation in his eyes. "Selena," he pleaded, "don't marry him. I'm begging you, come with me." This was my wedding to Ryan. The guests were all prominent figures. I had no desire to become gossip fodder, nor ruin the wedding my parents had looked forward to for so long. I asked Ryan to call security to escort Luis out. That brief interruption didn't derail the wedding. Everything went smoothly afterward. Later, after the ceremony and after seeing off the guests, I turned to Ryan. "Can you give me a moment to handle what happened earlier? I want to settle things with him." Ryan nodded without hesitation, trusting me completely. "Go ahead, but please be careful. If you need me, call me. I'll be right here." His steady presence gave me a sense of peace. Luis had been placed in a separate room, guarded by security. When I arrived, one of them quickly came up to me. "Can you talk to him? He was in a car accident and lost a lot of blood. We've been urging him to go to the hospital, but he refuses. If this continues, he might lose too much blood. It's a serious risk." I nodded and pushed the door open. Luis was sitting inside, pale and drenched in sweat. He looked like he was in unbearable pain. But the moment he saw me, his eyes lit up, and he forced a weak smile. "Selena, you finally came. Please, come home with me." Looking at him, I felt a twinge of emotion. After all, I had once loved him deeply. "You're injured. Go to the hospital first. We can talk later," I said. But he shook his head stubbornly. "Not unless you promise to come home with me." I sighed. "Luis, we've already broken up. I'm married now. Please, wake up." "No, I don't accept it." "Who said we broke up? I never agreed to it." I sighed again. "The moment you decided to marry Diana, we were over. Wasn't that clear?" "Luis, I sent you a breakup message. You didn't respond. I took your silence as agreement." He looked desperate. "I didn't see your message?" "Selena, if this is about Diana, I can explain. I didn't mean to hide it from you. I don't have feelings for her. I only agreed to marry her because I felt sorry for her. Her rural parents were forcing her to marry someone she didn't want to. I was just helping her with a fake marriage. Selena, believe me, there's nothing between us. She's someone we rescued together from traffickers, someone we supported. She calls me her brother. I helped her because of that bond. From beginning to end, the only one I've ever loved is you. I almost laughed. If that's true, then why didn't you tell me? Why did you lie? You say you love me, but have you ever respected me? He panicked. It's not like that. I admit it was wrong to hide it, but I did it for you. I didn't want you to overthink or get hurt, so I kept it from you. At that point, I couldn't tell what part of his story was true or, if any of it was. But it didn't matter. None of it mattered anymore. I took a deep breath. It doesn't matter, Luis. We're over. You don't need to explain anything. He shot up from the chair, aggravating his leg. He gasped in pain, but even then, he grit his teeth and kept pleading. Selena, I know I hurt you. I know I made mistakes. But when I realized the bride was why I was terrified, it felt like the world was ending. Maybe this accident was punishment, a wake-up call for everything I did wrong, but I've changed. I love you. Let's start over. Please. In all my memories, Luis had never been this desperate, this humbled, but I looked at him calmly. Luis, stop struggling. Admitting you've fallen out of love isn't shameful. I believe you loved me once, but the fact that you've fallen out of love now, that's also true. He interrupted me, flustered. That's not true. I still love you, Selena, please believe me. I smiled faintly. You say you love me yet you can't even remember my preferences. The food you got was always what Diana liked. The gifts you gave me, the same as hers. You forgot my birthday, our anniversary, and when I was in danger, you ran to someone else. Luis, is that love? If it is, your love is cheap. He began to panic. Selena, I know. I've done so many things wrong. I made you wait so many times. I'm sorry. I'll change. I'll become the partner you deserve. I'll cook for you, share housework, pick you up from work. Never eat anyone else's food, and only yours. I'll travel with you, celebrate every birthday and anniversary, never leave again. Please, just one more chance. I said nothing. He grew more desperate. I handled things with Diana poorly. I'll fix it. I'll cut ties with her completely. I'll make her leave the company. Delete all contact. I let out a cold laugh. So you do know what you did wrong. And still, you treated me like this. The truth is, you never cared. You just thought I wouldn't leave. That's why you acted so recklessly. No, that's not true. I care about you. I love you. Sorry, I don't feel it. All I felt was your disregard. The way you catered to Diana, took care of her, that's what love looks like. His face went pale. I admit, I lost my way. I thought my pity for her was love, but it wasn't. I used Diana to provoke you. I had no feelings for her. Her worship of me, her dependence, my pity, it clouded my judgment. Selena, please, let's start over. No, I don't love you anymore. My voice was calm. You don't deserve my love. I am worthy of a pure, beautiful relationship. Worthy of someone truly devoted to me. With that, I turned and walked away. Louis stumbled after me, bloodied, dragging his leg, trying to reach me. I turned back, my voice cold. Stop trying to gain sympathy. It won't work. He trembled, eyes full of despair. No, Selena. But I walked away. Ryan stood there waiting, smiling. He held out his hand. I exhaled, placed my hand in his, and smiled back. We walked away, together, without looking back. Later, I heard Diana died from the car crash that day despite being rushed to the hospital. She couldn't be saved. Luis, ignoring everyone's pleas, dragged his body in search of me. Because he delayed treatment, the injury to his leg worsened. It had to be amputated. Years later, when Ryan and I had a 2-year-old child, I occasionally heard news of Luis. He would often mutter to anyone who'd listen, "Where is my Selena? Who lost my Selena?" And sometimes quietly to himself, if 18-year-old Luis met 28-year-old Luis, he'd never forgive him.